Hi, my name is Corbin Felker, and I'm here to talk to you today about gun control. It's definitely a big issue and a major argument today in our political system, and especially with the election coming up, it's definitely a big issue. We as Americans have all been given certain rights and freedoms that our founding fathers fought for, and these rights and freedoms set us apart from other countries. One of these freedoms that was set into the Constitution, the Second Amendment specifically, is the right to bear arms. However, almost daily this right is further being challenged by our government and by the media and by many different outlets. Um, this is definitely something that I think is important to continue to fight for. And there's many different arguments for both sides out there. If you just Google it, you can see many different articles about this issue. So I'm going to address a few of the common ones and then just bring it to a few couple points that I think really are important in this discussion. We'll start with the assault weapon ban. This is one idea uh, that some people have to ban assault weapons. The AR-15 is one that receives quite a bit of attention in this area. Um, some people claim that it's too dangerous for civilians to use and that it's the weapon of choice for the massacre gunners um, and killers, and that a ban of it is what should happen. However, an AR-15 is not necessarily an assault weapon. It has the potential to be, but it is not as a civilian version, as the version that is sold to the public. It is a semi-automatic weapon, meaning that it fires one round with one pull of the trigger. You do not hold the trigger, and many rounds are fired. It also shoots just a 223 rounds, which is very similar to the 22 round that your standard hunting rifle would fire. Also, there is ideas that by lowering the magazine capacity, that less damage could be done in those situations. In fact, some states have banned certain size magazines. California is one of those. However, this is also not a solution in my opinion at all, because it doesn't take time to reload. The more you practice reloading, the quicker it can be. It can literally be done in less than 2 seconds. And anybody who's going to do uh, that type of massacre would not have any issue practicing, in my opinion. The magazine capacity is not going to make a difference at all. Another big issue is actual stricter gun control when you purchase a weapon, having to jump through many hoops to acquire the weapon, or just banning guns altogether. Um, the theory with this is that the killers wouldn't be able to legally acquire the weapon. And most weapons used in mass killings are actually legally acquired. But these are legally acquired by other people, and then they give them to the killer, they sell them to the killer, or stolen by it. Or in some situations, especially with young ones, they don't have a criminal record to begin with, so having all these hoops to jump through is going to do nothing at all, because they're still going to be able to purchase the gun. Clearly, the stricter gun regulations is not going to do anything at all. These are criminals. They're going to do what they have to do to get the weapon. However, it does take those guns out of the law-abiding citizens' hands. So you, as a law-abiding citizen, would not be able to have a gun in your house to protect you against this criminal. This is taking the power from your hands to defend yourself and your family and your home, and giving it right to the criminals who have no problem breaking the law. Another big topic in this is accidental deaths and self-defense. According to one website, less than 1% of violent crimes, the victim used, in less than 1%, the victim used a gun to protect themselves. So, in over 99% of the time, the victim doesn't use a gun to protect himself or herself. And then there's also many deaths each year caused by accidental gunshot wounds, many of which are children, which definitely scares people. However, this is not a gun control issue as well. This is an issue with education. If we educated the public, if the public in general was educated on how to use a weapon, then we wouldn't have as many accidents. If they were educated on how to use a weapon for self-defense, then they would be more likely to reach for the gun in a self-defense situation. If they were more regularly available to these law-abiding citizens, then they would have the gun there to protect themselves in the first place. These are not issues of stricter gun control. These are issues of education. And as I said, these are just a few of the big arguments that we have going around today. But like I said, it really boils down to a few main points. One of which is our right. The founders of our country fought for us to have these rights. They included them in our Constitution. There were certain ones that were so important that they included them in our Constitution. The Second Amendment states, "The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." If you read the whole thing, there's a lot more in there, but that is the part that specifically states and refers to the arms, to weapons, to guns, and this shall not be infringed. In addition, the Declaration of Independence, which is also quite long, but it talks about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And everybody's heard that. And then just below that, it says that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. Meaning these governments are in place not to take away the rights, but to secure these rights, not remove our right to bear arms. They should be fighting for our right to bear arms. And clearly our founding fathers knew the importance of this particular right, and it is not the government's to take away. And it is our duty as Americans to continue to fight for this specific right and all the rights that were established by our founding fathers. Finally, ultimately, guns have the ability to defend. They have the ability to defend our home, our family. They have the ability to even slow or halt a massacre situation. Even if this only happens 1 in 100 times, that's still one more time that it was defended because a gun was able to be used. Taking guns away takes power away from the law-abiding citizen, from you and from me. It does not take the power away from the criminal. It, in fact, gives more power to the criminal because there's less guns out there to defend with. There's less that they have to fight when they have the gun and they have the upper hand. The biggest importance is education, gun safety education. So these accidental deaths don't happen. And so you feel comfortable using the weapon, so people aren't afraid to use them. Educations on what the signs to look for in a friend or a family member or just anybody in general that seems to be disturbed, that may exhibit these signs of becoming a killer. And then, of course, proper self-defense education, especially with the weapon. All of this would make a much larger impact than taking away guns. Guns are tools. They can be used for good or evil. Banning them or enforcing massive gun control laws will not fix all the evil that's in this world, but taking them away will definitely make it a lot easier to carry out those evil plans.